Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep into a fascinating piece of tech today, pulled straight from a detailed review published back in 2025.
Right, the SteelSeries Arctis Pro Wireless gaming headset.
Exactly. Our mission in this deep dive is to kind of cut through the noise, pull out the absolute essential insights from this source, and really understand what makes this headset stand out.
Especially in such a crowded market, yeah.
Totally. And honestly, there's one feature the source zeroes in on right away that feels like a total game changer.
That dual battery system.
That dual battery system. It's a strong hook.
It is, and it's interesting how the source frames that up front.
Yeah.
It sort of signals immediately that this isn't just, another wireless headset.
Right.
It positions the Arctis Pro Wireless as something designed to solve, like fundamental user frustrations, pushing towards that premium space.
A blend of high-fidelity sound and actual gaming needs.
Exactly. That seems to be the angle.
And the source doesn't just talk features. It starts with the physical experience, like opening the box, first impressions.
Which are important for premium gear.
Yeah, and the review notes, it feels solid, well-built, but somehow manages to avoid being heavy.
They credit that alloy steel suspension frame, right?
Yep. It's about balancing that premium, robust feel with, actual comfort for your head.
That build quality is definitely something you'd expect at this level. And then you get to the ear cups.
Plush. Substantial.
Plush, substantial, over-ear, creating a good seal.
Yeah.
But what the source really highlights is the flexibility.
The swappable cushions.
Right. You aren't stuck with just one material. You can swap between the breathable air weave and the more traditional leatherette.
So you get a choice. That's a nice touch for comfort.
It's a significant factor, the source points out, yeah. Personalization matters.
Okay, so building comfort details.
Yeah.
Noted. But let's circle back to what you mentioned right at the start, because this is where it gets really interesting for anyone like me who's had a headset die mid-match.
The power situation. Yeah, it's a big deal in this review.
2 swappable batteries, each giving you about 10 hours.
Yes, and the genius, as the source really emphasizes, is how they implemented it. You're never tethered.
Okay.
You have 2 batteries. One's always in the headset. The other is charging in this. Well, it's quite a sleek, compact base station.
When one gets low.
You just pop it out, grab the fresh one from the base, and drop it in. The review stresses this means literally 0 downtime.
0.
0. You never have to stop playing because your battery died. Never plug in a cable mid-session.
That honestly eliminates the single biggest anxiety of wireless gaming gear for me.
Right. And the base station isn't just a charger either. It's also the transmitter for that rock-solid 2.4 gigahertz wireless connection.
Okay, so it's the hub for everything.
Exactly. It's a neat integrated system managing both power and the main connection. Pretty elegant.
Speaking of elegant design,
yeah.
let's talk about comfort for, long sessions, because the source says this is a major win.
A huge plus, yeah. They specifically call out the ski-goggle headband technology.
Like literally from ski goggles. Sounds kind of weird, but okay.
Well, the idea is that it distributes the weight really evenly across the top of your head. It stops those pressure points, those hot spots you can get with traditional headbands after a few hours.
Okay, that makes sense. Less fatigue during those marathon gaming nights.
And that design choice isn't just a gimmick. The source frames it as really functional ergonomics. It self-adjusts too.
Oh, automatically?
Yeah, combined with those generously sized ear cups. The source notes they fit different ear sizes as well. And crucially, don't pinch if you wear glasses.
That's a big one for glasses wearers. Always a pain point.
Definitely. These details matter for long-term comfort.
Although the source did mention one small comfort, let's say niggle.
Yeah, the leatherette cushions. They can get a bit warm.
Especially in warmer rooms or during intense sessions, I guess.
Exactly. It's a minor point in the grand scheme, but worth noting. But the source immediately follows up by saying that's precisely why having the breathable airweave option is great.
Right. You can just swap them out if heat becomes an issue.
So it solves that specific problem. It reinforces that the choice of materials is practical, not just aesthetic.
Versatility again. Okay, now let's move to the absolute core, the audio performance. The source seems pretty blown away here.
Yeah, they hold nothing back. This is where the Arctis Pro Wireless truly excels, according to them.
I've read speaker drivers mentioned.
Yep. Delivering an expansive soundstage, crystal clear detail. That's a strong claim for a gaming headset.
It is, and for you listening, is how that actually plays out in games. The source gives specific examples.
Like what?
Picking out subtle environmental cues like distant whispers, maybe the crunch of snow underfoot in single-player games. They mentioned Deathloop.
Okay, atmospheric stuff.
but also, crucially, gaining a competitive edge in multiplayer, accurately pinpointing directional footsteps before you even see an enemy. That kind of spatial awareness.
Ah, the tactical advantage. Got it. So it's not just about big booms, it's the finer details, too.
Precisely. And for those more atmospheric games, the source uses Final Fantasy VII Remake's orchestral score as an example. Oh, nice. How did that sound?
Described as lush, immersive, really rich mid-ranges, crisp trebles, it suggests the headset isn't just tuned solely for competitive cues. It handles complex music and sound design beautifully.
And the bass. Gaming headsets sometimes overdo the bass.
A good point. The source actually praised the bass response here. Tight, controlled, giving explosions impact without becoming boomy or muddying dialogue and other crucial sounds.
That balance is tricky.
Very tricky. And the source specifically credits the onboard DC and amplifier for contributing to this overall audio quality.
Okay, DC and amp. For listeners who aren't deep into audio jargon, what does having a dedicated DC and amp in the headset actually do for the sound? Why is that better?
Great question, because it is a key differentiator. So think of it like this. A DIS digital to analog converter takes the raw digital game audio from your PC or console and turns it into the analog signal your ears actually hear. An amplifier then boosts that signal, putting a dedicated high-quality DAC and amp in the headset itself, instead of just relying on the often basic audio processing chips in your computer or console. Well, it cleans up that signal significantly, provides more power, more clarity.
So it's like polishing the sound before it even hits the speakers.
Exactly. The source notes this adds warmth, especially to the mid-range frequencies. Makes things like in-game dialogue or voice chat sound incredibly natural, really present. It elevates the whole experience beyond typical gaming audio.
Okay, that makes sense. A higher quality starting point for the sound. Now, beyond the sound itself, wireless connectivity needs to be flawless for a premium headset, right? This one has dual channels.
Yes, and this is another area the source highlights as, well, brilliant.
Yeah.
You get the primary lossless 2.4 gigahertz connection.
Lossless meaning?
No audio data compression, so you get full fidelity.
Yeah.
And critically, virtually zero latency, imperceptible delay.
Essential for competitive gaming. Milliseconds count.
Absolutely. This source cited playing Call of Duty, Vanguard on PS5, with zero noticeable audio lag. I mentioned the base station makes switching between PC and PS5 really easy too.
Okay, so the main gaming connection is solid, but then there's Bluetooth as well, and you can use them at the same time.
Correct. Simultaneously. This is pretty unique and incredibly useful.
How so?
You can have the 2.4 gigahertz connection running for your game audio and maybe Discord chat, while also being paired via Bluetooth to your phone or tablet. So you can take a call, listen to a podcast, stream music from your phone, all without pausing your game or taking the headset off.
Okay, that is genuinely handy, like really practical.
The source found the pairing seamless, device memory worked well. The only acknowledged drawback:
Let me guess, battery life.
running both wireless modes does drain the battery a bit faster, yeah. But as we discussed.
That dual battery system makes it kind of irrelevant. Minor inconvenience at worst.
Pretty much.
That's
It
right.
mitigates that concern almost entirely.
Speaking of chat, how's the microphone quality? It's that retractable ClearCast mic.
The source was impressed. It uses a bidirectional design.
Why does bidirectional matter for a mic boom?
Good question. A bidirectional mic picks up sound most strongly from directly in front and behind it, while actively rejecting sound from the sides. So, for a headset boom-like.
It focuses on your voice.
Exactly.
Right.
In front of it. And it helps filter out background noise, keyboard clicks, room echo, maybe game sounds bleeding through speakers if you had any.
And did it work well in practice, according to the review?
Apparently so. The source quoted friends, specifically commenting on how surprisingly clear the user's voice sounded. None of that typical muffled or tiny quality you sometimes get.
Nice. And it's Discord certified.
It is, which is usually a good benchmark for voice clarity in the gaming world.
And little things like the flip to mute feature are just convenient, quality of life stuff.
Absolutely. Flipping the boom arm up to instantly mute is super intuitive. Plus, there's a little red LED indicator right on the mic itself.
So you know for sure if you're muted or not.
Yeah. Simple visual cue. Again, it's these thoughtful design details that the source kept highlighting as adding up to a great user experience.
Okay, so we've covered the hardware, pretty thoroughly build, comfort, audio, wireless, mic. What about the software side? The SteelSeries Engine suite.
Right. The source described it as robust in terms of customization options. Lots you can tweak.
I sense a but.
Well, they did acknowledge the interface feels a bit dated compared to some of the competition. Not the slickest looking UI.
Okay, so maybe not pretty, but functional.
Exactly. Where it matters, it delivers.
Okay.
You can fine-tune EQ settings extensively, balance your game audio versus chat levels, which is a must-have feature, really.
Definitely.
You can assign hotkeys to controls on the headset itself, and importantly, toggle on their virtual surround sound processing, which they call sonar.
Ah, yes, sonar. How effective did the source find that? Is good virtual surround?
They found it definitely broadens the soundstage, gives more of a sprawling, sort of cinema-like effect. Could be great for immersion in big single-player games.
But maybe not for competitive play.
Possibly. The source did note that audio purists focus purely on precise, competitive spatial audio might prefer the unprocessed stereo signal straight from that high-quality DA we talked about.
Okay, makes sense. Use sonar for atmosphere, turn it off for footsteps.
That seems to be the takeaway. But having sonar as an option just adds versatility. The software is also where you'd set up things like custom macros or voice alerts if you're into that kind of stuff.
So overall, clunky UI maybe, but deep functionality underneath.
Precisely. And as the source pointed out, for most people, once you get your EQ and your main preferences dialed in, you probably won't need to dive back into the software all that often anyway. It's powerful for that initial setup and occasional tweak.
Right. Set it and forget it, mostly. Okay. Circling back quickly to battery life, just to nail it down, the source confirmed around 10 hours per battery.
Around 10, yeah. Maybe closer to 9 if you're really hammering both at 2.4 gigahertz and Bluetooth simultaneously.
But the real story, the headline feature again, is the uninterrupted play, thanks to having that second battery always ready.
That's the core value proposition the source comes back to repeatedly. It just completely removes the anxiety, the dread of a wireless headset dying at a critical moment in a game.
Can't argue with that.
They also included a practical tip, suggesting you might want to replace the batteries every few years just to maintain optimal performance. And importantly, replacement packs are reasonably priced and easy to find.
Good to know. So it's not like you're stuck if a battery eventually degrades.
Nope. And the overall build quality we talked about earlier really supports that idea of long-term use. It feels like an investment designed for longevity.
Not just a disposable piece of tech.
Doesn't seem like it, no. Feels like an ecosystem designed to last.
Okay, so let's try and pull all this together then. Based on his 2025 review, what's the final verdict? Is it worth the presumably premium price?
The source's conclusion is pretty emphatic. They call it one of the most accomplished gaming headsets available at the time, and a premium, highly versatile audio solution.
High praise.
Very. They explicitly state it successfully bridges that gap we mentioned between professional-grade hi-fi audio quality and the specific practical demands of serious gaming.
So it delivers for both audiophiles and hardcore gamers.
That's the argument. Yeah. For serious gamers or even audio enthusiasts who want top-tier wireless performance for gaming and maybe other media, the source feels it delivers on pretty much every promise.
From the audio fidelity, the comfort,
to the critical features like that latency-free wireless, the clear microphone, the battery system.
And that dual battery system gets highlighted one last time, doesn't it? As arguably the single biggest justification for the investment, eliminating that universal wireless dread.
Absolutely. The source basically concludes that in the crowded market of 2025, if you were looking for a truly high-end wireless headset and were prepared for that premium price tag, the Arctis Pro Wireless stood out as one of the very finest options, uniquely combining that comfort, exceptional audio, and genuinely reliable, worry-free wireless performance. It's presented as a headset that really meets the needs of the most demanding users.
Right. So reflecting on this deep dive, looking at this 2025 review, we've seen how a headset like the Arctis Pro Wireless wasn't just about refining existing gaming features. It was explicitly pulling in standards from the high-fidelity audio world.
Definitely blurring those lines.
Yeah, and it raises a fascinating question, doesn't it? What does this kind of convergence, this blend of like professional-grade hi-fi sound and specialized gaming tech mean for the future of audio in the gaming space? And maybe more importantly for you listening, how might that push the boundaries of what you expect or even demand from a gaming headset going forward?